What's going on, everybody? Eric Lindquist at Stokastic here on the Stokastic channel. Getting ready to rock with a little bit more DraftKings Reignmakers. Hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Goes a long way for me on this video. Goes a long way for you. That way you become a prize whenever great content is going live here at our little neck of the YouTube woods. If you're just showing up for the first time, welcome. We're going to be breaking down the best buys. Yes, the best buys. Don't want to, copyright that one. But best buys for the Wells Fargo here at Quail Hollow. Going to be an awesome week of golf. Incredible field, elevated event. Hey, yeah. Can it get much higher? It's going to be awesome. Reignmakers, though, makes it even better. And what is Reignmakers, you ask? Well, some of you might already know if you clicked on this video, but otherwise, PGA Tour, DraftKings Reignmakers. It is simply NFTs, being able to use those NFTs for paid contests. So you can get your free pack in the video description box below. I strongly recommend doing that. You're going to get 8 golfers. You'll be able to play in contests instantly. You could also then buy, sell, trade players, and I'm going to teach you how to do that for some of the core contests. We might also take a step up to rares here in the next week or so. Really want to talk through some of the strategy of how to put together a solid team week in, week out. You don't have to pay a fortune for a good rare team, that's for sure. Now, these cards have utility throughout the entire season, though. So if you get a Rory McIlroy now, you're going to be able to utilize him every single week until the end of the PGA Tour season. That, my friends, makes this a lot better than just simply, hey, you got your DFS entries for the week. Well, you don't have any ownership over the player. You can't sell that card, trade it in for another card, things of that nature. So we're going to go to the DraftKings Reignmakers here, sign up for that pack. They also have UFC. I'm big time into the UFC. Absolutely love that product. Again, PGA Tour, UFC, every single week. Definitely want to be improving our collections and go into that. So we're going to go to the lobby. And the first thing I want to point out is these gated contests that sit right at the front here. See how they are gated. There you are. Look at me producing my own stuff. PGA Tour, Reignmakers, 1+ rare. So there were 5 players that finished in the top 5 at the Wells Fargo last season. They're all elite players, by the way. Great stuff from 2022. And you have to have one of those players of a rare or better to get into this contest. You also have the elite, which aren't going to have even fewer people in there. You can play 2 rare cards along. You got to have 3 elites for that combination of players, and then 2 legendaries with 3 elites. That's how it's done. A little bit different in the UFC streets where you only need the 1 legendary, 4 elites that you can play for it. But for this Reignmaker one, you have an incredible opportunity to be an honorary observer at the Charles Schwab Experience. That seems pretty sick. They have a Saturday, Sunday one, and then a Thursday, Friday Charles Schwab Experience. Cool. You can rotate in that Thursday, Friday. Always good to have a cut sweat and go hang out there. So if you get one of those players from the top 5 finishers of 2022, which is pretty easy to look up, you have an opportunity to get in and get one of those experiences. And there's more than just the one experience. I believe there's 3. Yes, 3 people that will go along for that experience. Pretty cool stuff if you finish in the top 3 there. This one is just for first in the legendary one. So pretty cool stuff offering by DraftKings. They're always going to have these special experiences in the UFC streets. They have a fan experience that you can jump in. 2nd through 6th gets tickets to the event. And then the Fan X stuff, really cool stuff. So you want to be paying very close attention to that. That is for sure. But as always, I like to talk through things from the single entry perspective. And only 878 entries right now into this core. I doubt there's going to be over 2,000. Maybe there are 2,500 tops, perhaps. But we want to put together our best lineup here to start off. And if I were to just build it straight from scratch here, think about Quail Hollow. It's a really long 7,500-yard type golf course. Tony Finau just got done winning the last week. He bombs it, hits in an absolute mile. There's no John Rahm this week, so you don't even have to deal with that. But Cantlay is going to be a popular play, and I'm thinking about getting a couple of shares of him, even at the inflated $25.98 number. There is an $85 booster, and if you stay up a little bit late, sometimes people decrease the prices before the tournament starts because they want to be buying themselves a different card or get exposure elsewhere. Rarer for the top player to be the person who ends up falling out of favor there, but just saying, something to be paying attention to. But Tony Finau is my first click for single entry this week. A lot of people might be shying away because he did win last week for whatever reason. People really hate doing that these days, even though Tony Finau, 3rd in strokes gained approach amongst this field. Yeah, strokes gained with the irons amongst this field over his last 50 rounds. We already know his prowess with the driver, one of the best drivers of the golf ball on the planet. So now he's making putts, 12th amongst his field in the last 50 rounds with the putter. Lots of opportunities to be firing this one up, my friends. Tony Finau, going to be my first click in for the single entry contest. Part of it is that I have one and I got him in the starter pack, so that makes it super easy. But pretty good deal here. I hope if you were looking at getting him here, you could have gotten the elite card before the Mexico Open there. After the fact, he's pretty expensive here for sure. But Tony Finau, my first click in, I'm going to play him in single entry in DFS, and I'm going to play him in my core entry here. Now, Victor Hovland, because I have 2 cards of him, I'm also going to add him to the fray. I have 3 cards of him. That's so lovely. This is somebody that in DFS, I'm going to be probably under the field on because he's very, very popular. But considering there is no restraints, I mean, if you own them, you play them, and he's pretty expensive. I think Victor Hovland isn't going to be all that popular in a format like this. And he sets up perfectly. Now, one of the things at Quail Hollow that doesn't matter as much, around the green game, we see a tight correlation between ball striking numbers and finishing in the top 10 at this event. We don't see the same thing from around the green game. A lot of terrible around the green players can survive because the low winning score. I mean, Rory McIlroy in 2021 on this golf course, 2022 wasn't played here, but 10 under. 10 under. It's going to play tough. It's not the easiest golf course to get around, and lots of long par 4s, some really tricky green complexes, lots of things that have defense there. You got to score on the par 5s. You got to take advantage of 14, the par 4 on that back 9. And Victor Hovland, terrible around the green, terrible at chipping, but Victor Hovland going to be an awesome ball striking candidate, going to be in that single entry spot. Now, there are a couple of players that I don't have exposure to here, but Cam Young at $14.68 feels like another phenomenal buy here. I'm hoping this drops even a little bit further to around $14, $13.50 by the time you hear this. We'll see. He's going to get steamed up, going to get a lot of attention in the DFS circles here. Colin Morikawa really won't. He hasn't been playing as well here of late, but Colin Morikawa, definitely somebody that I want to be adding to my portfolio for this week. Great long iron prowess. And then Sahith Theegala, I got him in a prize pack. That was good stuff. Thank you. So you can get those by competing in other contests that aren't necessarily just these core ones. There are lots of opportunities to get some prize packs throughout the entire season. So do that. That'd be awesome. But the last guy for single entry for me, that's no doubt, again, 7 top 10s, played golf courses that comp very, very well to this one, whether that be Torrey Pines had a great outing. Phoenix Open had a great outing. We're getting back on Bermuda grass. But I'm going to be throwing Jason Day in single entry as well. These are 5 players that are all 9K or better, or I guess, 9K or better in terms of DFS pricing. That means they're the most likely players on the board to go out and win, to perform well. And there are no salary constraints when it comes to playing Reignmakers. So that, my friends, is going to be my first lineup I add to the single entry. But we're not done, because I had a lot of people ask me, Eric, I want to build out some cheaper lineups. How can you help me build out a cheaper lineup in this core contest? Well, you ask and you shall receive. Let's talk through a couple of those options. I can go right back to the well with Victor Hovland. I have Colin Morikawa again, Justin Thomas, and Tom Kim, somebody that I'm going to be fading for this week. He had a great President's Cup, which was at Quail Hollow. That's why I changed venues in 2022. I just don't feel like this golf course sets up that well for him. And now we have an entire full field. We haven't really seen him compete to the level of his peers once he, has been qualified for absolutely everything here of late. So just throwing it out there. I'm a little bit worried about him. Sam Burns, I'm not worried about. He's absolutely getting added to the fray in this one. But let's take actually the Victor Hovland that has the higher serial number, because these are all pretty high serial numbers that I'm looking at here. Again, it's just simply a tiebreaker if you have the identical lineup to somebody, which is tough to do, even with just 5 golf selections in a sport like golf here. But there are so many cheap options. And the first one that comes to mind that I'm going to have a lot of exposure to this week is Corey Connors. I'm going to buy a lot of his $5 cards. We saw him win in San Antonio and then just screwed the pooch at the Masters. But he has the ball striking profile that you want for this golf course. Another terrible around the green player. Keith Mitchell. Hell, I have 2 of his cards. He's more expensive right now than Corey Connors. And I'm just saying this flat out. You tell me to invest in one of their careers for the next 10 years, I'm investing in Corey Connors. That's not even really a question to me. I think Corey Connors has the better short game long-term. And Keith Mitchell, while he can spike in different regards, Corey Connors, 3 consecutive top 10s at Augusta before missing the cut this year. Keith Mitchell, Start showing it at big events and we'll start getting there. Now, Pebble Beach, he finished top 10, stuff like that. It's pretty interesting. But I think that that's a great ad sitting at that $5 mark. So wanted to throw him out there first. Brandon Wu was a big investment for me last week, came through in single entry. I know that he was in my buddy Jason Roslin's winning entry as the MVP, I believe, up top there. But you can actually now also click on the card profile and see exactly how they did, but finished third, 66, 64, 67, 68. Those are good numbers when you're playing golf, just throwing it out there. So I think he's going to be somebody to have. And Adam Svensson, another Canadian that I think you can pair pretty decently with the likes of a Corey Connors. I think there's a lot of really good options for cheap. JT Poston, the postman, if you will. I think he definitely makes some sense. Strange to see Kurt Kitayama this expensive. I'm probably going to be selling that card, upgrading to some other spots. For friends, Garrett Cago's $1. And I know that we were able to use the craft and burn section for him last week. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we'll explain that here. You just simply go to the marketplace. If you have cards that are in your starter pack, like this one, don't trade in Victor Hovland to get somebody, but you can every single week trade them in the craft and burn section to get players that are active that week. And Garrett Cago was one of them last week. Ended up playing like absolute dog doo-doo. But the driving has been a lot better this season. And I think that's going to be his calling card going forward. Had made a lot of cuts, had played decently well in Florida during the course of that swing. Bermuda grass, getting back on it here. I think that there's definitely something to be said about firing up Mr. Garrett Cago at $1. Eric Van Ryan, don't go chasing waterfalls. Stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to, or, golfers who are actually good. Let's talk a couple of these other cheapies. Henrik Norlander, I think, makes some sense. Webb Simpson also makes some sense. At $1.90, I really was a little too harsh on him in the DFS streets when I did the DFS video here at Stokastic a little bit earlier. I think I would be okay having some shares of him as we're moving our way downtown, walking fast faces past, and I'm homebound. But got to feel like you want to have some of these top players, top exposure to guys. So we're going to round it out here with Tyrrell Hatton, who has had some success at this golf course, even if it's not a course that I would generally think would be favoring his type of pedigree here for it. But I'm going to submit that. Lots of ways to go around and build some of these top tier lineups. And I'm going to do one more just because I want to. I want to give the people all the information. Don't forget, get your starter pack below at the video description box below. There are gated contests. If you have one of those top 5 finishers of a rare card or better, you're going to have a lot of opportunity to get some good stuff going. But put your hands up in the Jaeger. We're going to add him after I put Sam Burns in the MVP because duh. There we go. I'm going to put Hovland. Hovland's just going to be in everything because, again, you have these cards. You might as well use them. I have the number 2 serial of Mr. Keith Mitchell. That makes me happy. Got some better serial numbers than I'm putting into this one, that's for sure. We got Jaeger. We got Adam Hadwin, who I don't think this is a great golf course for him. You could probably sell and then buy low once he plays like garbage here. Think that might be something I try to encapsulate here. But Taylor Moore, I have his rare. I'm probably going to be playing him in my rare single entry as well. He's a player that I'm a little bit surprised I wasn't on to the gate with earlier. The ball striking numbers aren't as good, but he is one of the best putters on the PGA Tour already. I think overall, strokes game, short game, that's going to be his calling card. This isn't that kind of a course unless he just runs into a really good ball striking week. I think I'm going to be having, though, in that rare contest. That is for darn sure. Let's round it out here with some Aaron Rye, who is 6,900 in DFS this week. That's cheap, but I think you could definitely add him as a very contrarian option. And lastly, somebody I just have a ton of because I believe in him, Siwoo Kim. He's super expensive. Him and Siwoo, I could probably trade in a couple of those, get some cheapies. Actually, why don't I just do this? Might as well use my Tom Kim somewhere. Either that or the Tyrrell Hatton. Have the 2 low serial numbers make up for some of the ground. If I doubt that's going to be a duped one. But lots of opportunities to get some cheap exposure in the core contest. And I think next time I'll work through some rare pieces as well. Taylor Pendrith. Let's go to the super low end just for you, just for all of you. Who are some guys that I have? Ryan Moore, no thank you. Callum Tarrant, no thank you. Doug Gim, maybe. Dylan Fratelli. God, times have been tough for Dylan Fratelli. Yeah, probably going to be looking at mostly people. Trevor Cohn, he's in this field now. Late entry. Started out there. Lots of great opportunities in the Reignmaker streets, though, to get yourself up. I got to get my permissions. I got to get the current location. Here it goes. We'll finish it out with this, my friends. Submit, lineup, And maybe next time I will be getting some packs to open. Lots of opportunities, lots of things that we can do over here in the Rainmaker videos. But head to that comment section below. Let me know what you guys want to see on the next episode as I work through different. I just want to work through all of the different ins and outs of Rainmakers. Want to be paying attention to the PGA Tour schedule. 2 weeks till the PGA Championship. Yes, 2 weeks. Going to be amazing. Some inflated contests. We're going to really want to have some stacked lineups for that. So check out everything that is offered there. The starter pack below. Booster packs, those are available for cheap in the old drop section. So head to the marketplace, shop till you drop, find yourself. Well, I just clicked on UFC. That is a creature of habit because, again, I'm in the UFC streets quite a bit. So there you go. I'm Eric Lindquist. Until next time, friends, best of luck at the Wells Fargo in Reignmakers this week.